Included in some of those documents that were approved coming into this meeting includes approval of the TR-177, and this specifies the IPv6 in the context of our TR-101 architecture. That architecture is an Ethernet-based network architecture. And so with this, we have really pretty well filled in the specifications for IPv6. This is very timely given the recent attention in the media to the exhaustion of IPv4 addresses. The other thing I'd highlight is we've also approved some improvements to our TR-181. This is our CPE WAN management protocol data model, which is based on the TR-69, which a lot of people know about. And with the expanding application of the TR-69 management of CPE, we've just had to respond to the increased needs for this data model. So we have sort of restructured the data model to make it more future-proof and extensible. In line with this idea of higher speeds, and the market is demanding faster and faster speeds, there's two things I'd highlight here. The first one is fiber, and the second one is copper is still very much in the game. And that's interesting. That's sort of surprising maybe to some people. The Broadband Forum has a very good collaboration going on with the FSAN group in the development of the G.hn conformance testing specifications, which will, based on work actually coming out of this meeting, is going to be used by independent testing labs around the world to certify ONT equipment based on the conformance testing requirements that we're defining. So, we're doing our part here with the testing specs. Now, on the copper side, there has been a development with VDSL2 technology called vectoring. This is a technique which effectively mitigates, or if you will, cancels the far-end crosstalk. This is been one of the limiting factors on the performance of VDSL. By doing so, it can almost double the bit rate achievable in real-world conditions by the VDSL technology, and so this, within the correct network architecture, will allow the VDSL to approach bit rates as high as 100 megabits per second per subscriber. And so with that level of performance, I think we will be a very good match to the growing demands for speed by customers. So what the Broadband Forum is doing in this is that we are developing the testing methods and specifications to test the vectored VDSL equipment in laboratories and to verify its performance. Worldwide, we've hit a huge milestone in the development of broadband with announcing 500 million customers worldwide now have broadband access. This is an enormous achievement. We've really crossed the threshold here where it's becoming the norm. For pretty much, most everyone has broadband nowadays. And the interesting thing is that we're tracking, year by year the continuing expansion in number of lines worldwide, and that the sustained rate of expansion in broadband customers has been sustained despite, over the last year or two, the global economic recession. The broadband deployment rates still maintained continued steady growth. And so that's a real testament to the strength of the broadband demand. The other thing which is happening is, in addition to the number of lines, the bit rates for these lines on average are growing year over year, and so it's getting faster as well as larger numbers. So, a year ago, we had the union between the Broadband Forum and the IP MPLS Forum, which went remarkably well. From that work, now as a working group in the Broadband Forum, we have developed a testing and certification program for TDM over MPLS equipment used for mobile backhaul, and that's already seeing a lot of adoption and interest in the industry. Now the work is addressing the ATM over MPLS, and so now moving forward, I think we'll have now increased emphasis on extending the MPLS towards the edge of the network, whereas in the past it was focused more on the core and looking at the access aggregation. So in that light, we have work on some white papers and tutorial material on that topic. So some of the highlights for this year. Now we're getting to the end of the year 2010 and looking back at the year. One of the, of course, the big things is our broadband release 3.2, which adds the management of applications in the CPE. So we've pretty well done the device management at the customer premises. Now we're expanding this to some of the software downloads and applications that resides in that CPE. Another big effort that we have taken on, and at this meeting pretty well completed, is the input from the Broadband Forum in response to a request from the European Union's JRC, their Joint Research Council. They asked us to review and provide input on the EU Code of Conduct for Energy Consumption of Telecom Equipment. And so we put a huge effort in, especially coming up to this meeting and at this meeting, to develop an industry consensus for the power consumption objectives for telecom equipment, both in the network and the CPE side, and also a lot of detailed information on how to configure the equipment when measuring that energy consumption. This is all part of an effort to make the equipment, both on the customer and network side, more energy efficient. And this is really a fairly powerful driving force to reduce the power consumption of the equipment. This has a lot of repercussions. It's something that really has to be thought through with great care in order to assure that the equipment continues to achieve the high level performance and reliability while trying to reduce the power consumption. For 2011, we're looking forward to our continued work on the MPLS work, the certification for G.hn, and then we're looking forward to our release 4.0, which is going to really pull together our IPv6 work. And again, a huge effort, I'm sure, in 2011, continuing with the G.hn. One other area I'll mention is our work on home networking testing, and I think that's going to be a lot of work in 2011 on testing developing testing specifications for home networking equipment for broadband. So yeah, I'm sure that 2011 is going to see us just as busy as we've been in 2010.